Creating extraordinary success in business and life is absolutely possible. That means more income, more freedom, and more energy for what you value most without the hustle or burnout. I'm Laura Flood, certified success and high performance coach, CEO for over 30 years, and a multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I've built a profitable, sustainable business while prioritizing my family, my health, and my happiness, and I'm here to help you do the same. This is the Redefining Success Podcast, where I'll share the strategies, tools, and the mindset shifts to help you grow with intention, live a life you love, and create lasting happiness, wealth, and freedom without losing yourself in the process. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Redefining Success Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Flood, certified high performance and success coach, and this is where we redefine what it means to win at the highest level. This podcast is for the achievers who have already built success and they want to experience more clarity, confidence, and control without that constant pressure to perform. Today, we're talking about the confidence advantage, how most successful people think, lead, and make decisions differently. I want to talk about how they hold their energy when things don't go as planned, and how they continue to lead with conviction even before results appear. Confidence isn't a personality trait. It's a skill that can be developed and strengthened at every level of growth. It's one of the most powerful advantages in business, leadership, and life. And yet it's often the missing piece for leaders who already appear successful on the outside. This month inside the Redefining Success Collective, we're going even deeper into confidence and courage. We're really helping leaders strengthen their mindset, their presence, and ability to lead powerfully, even when things feel uncertain. Let's get started. Most high achievers assume that confidence comes after success. Once I hit that goal, then I'll feel confident. Or once I'm more experienced, then I'll trust myself. But confidence doesn't follow results. It creates them. There was a point early in my career when I was offered a partnership that looked incredible on paper. It promised more exposure, more deals, more everything. But something in me felt off. And I ended up ignoring that quiet knowing, and I said yes anyway, because I really didn't want to look difficult or ungrateful for this opportunity. But within months, I was exhausted. The partnership was totally misaligned, and the more I tried to make it work, the more disconnected I became from my values and my vision. A few years later, a similar offer came along, this time a bigger opportunity, and I had already learned this lesson, so I trusted my instincts, asked better questions, and then I ended up saying no with calm confidence. That decision to say no opened up the door to opportunities that were more aligned with my vision. It ended up freeing up my time, energy, and creativity for what I was actually meant to build. Confidence isn't about saying yes to everything that looks impressive. It's really about trusting yourself enough to say no when something doesn't feel right. And I find that that's the part that most people miss. Confidence isn't a volume issue. It's not about speaking louder, posting more, or performing harder. Confidence is built when you're willing to take action before you have proof. It's alignment energy. It's that calm, steady presence that says, I know who I am and I know what I'm building. When you have that kind of confidence, you stop chasing opportunities and you start choosing them. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you waiting to feel ready before you act? And where in your business or life are you overriding your instincts just to please others? What would it look like if you were to trust yourself instead? One of my coaches, Brooke Castillo, says, you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. And really, that includes your tone, your boundaries, and your belief in your own value. Confidence is self-trust in motion. It's your ability to show up without needing validation. Confidence has a formula. There are 3 parts: clarity, commitment, and conviction. And each one really strengthens the next. What I found is confidence collapses in confusion. When you're pulled in too many directions, your certainty disappears. There was a season when I was constantly busy but rarely fulfilled. I would say yes to everything. Every request, every opportunity, every client who asked for just a minute of my time. And I wonder why I felt scattered. The moment I defined what mattered, profit, peace, and presence with my family, everything shifted. I didn't need more discipline. I needed direction. Once I decided what I was no longer going to tolerate, the noise faded. My business grew, my relationships deepened, and I finally had space to think again. A client of mine, a multiple six-figure CEO, came to me in the same cycle. She was drowning in possibilities. So we simplified her business into 3 focus areas. Number 1, her highest value offer. Number 2, her top 10 relationships. And 3rd, her energy management. Within a quarter, she was earning more, working less, and finally smiling again. Clarity creates boundaries, and boundaries create confidence. Clarity doesn't limit you, it really liberates you. I'd love for you to take a minute to write down the 3 things that matter most to you right now. And if an opportunity doesn't align with them, then it's just a distraction. The second part of the formula is commitment. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Years ago, I made a simple decision, no nights and no weekends. And at first, I was terrified that clients would walk. Instead, I became more respected and far more productive. So every time that you follow through, you reinforce your self-trust. And really, self-trust is the foundation of confidence. One of my clients was juggling multiple projects, and she was constantly disappointed in her follow-through. So we decided to build a daily rhythm, a morning CEO hour, and an end-of-day closeout. Nothing complicated, just some structure that would protect her focus. Within a month, she said, I finally feel like I'm running my business instead of constantly reacting to it. When you're prepared, aligned with your values, and connected to a purpose beyond yourself, confidence really just becomes who you are. So I want to ask you, what small promise have you been breaking to yourself? And can you keep it for the next 7 days? Because confidence really compounds through consistency. The third piece of the formula is conviction. Conviction is really just confidence in motion. It's what keeps you steady when results haven't appeared yet. When I launched my Redefining Success and my Real Estate Methods for Success coaching businesses, people asked me why I would step away from a profitable real estate business and really start letting my team take more opportunities. The answer for me was really simple. I wasn't leaving success, I was stepping into alignment. Conviction isn't about being right or wrong, it's about being grounded. Another client of mine led a team that really needed restructuring. She had been avoiding it for months because she didn't want to deal with the conflict. But once she decided to lead from clarity instead of comfort, everything changed. Her culture improved, profits increased, and she said she finally felt like the CEO again. So conviction doesn't require consensus. It requires a lot of courage. So ask yourself, what decision are you postponing because you want approval? And I want you to decide today, make that decision, move first, and then just refine as you go. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to do it. Clarity gives you direction. Commitment builds momentum, and conviction sustains it. Together, they form a foundation of unshakable confidence. So let's take that deeper. I want to go into the daily principles that keep confidence alive long after your motivation fades. Confidence isn't built in comfort. It's built through growth, reflection, and movement. There are 6 principles that I teach inside of the Redefining Success Collective and to my private clients. I want you to think of these as anchors. They're really the beliefs that keep you focused and committed when life or business gets uncertain. Principle number 1, failure is feedback. Every result teaches you something. When things don't work, most people start to spiral, but high performers, they pause and they learn. So early in my career, I used to take every setback personally. If a deal fell apart, I would replay it in my mind for days. And now I've learned to treat every result as information. I ask myself, what did this show me about my systems, my mindset, or my boundaries? One of my clients made this shift too. After missing a major income goal, she started evaluating, not judging. Within 1 quarter, she turned the data from that failure into her next big win. Failure only feels final if you stop moving. Principle number 2, growth happens in discomfort. So if you are not uncomfortable, you're probably not expanding. Every time you stretch into a new level, discomfort shows up as resistance. And that resistance just means that you're in the right place. When I left my real estate brokerage after 26 years, I felt really equal parts fear and freedom. I didn't know exactly what would happen next. I just knew that staying there would cost me more than leaving. Discomfort was the signal, not the problem. And the same is true for my clients. One of them recently said, I realized growth doesn't always feel good, but it always feels right afterward. And that is so true because you can't expand without friction. You have to learn to see discomfort as proof that you're evolving. Principle number 3, feelings aren't dangerous. So confidence grows when you're willing to feel anything, when you're willing to feel fear, embarrassment, uncertainty. They're really just sensations. And I've coached so many executives that could handle million-dollar decisions, but they struggled to sit with vulnerability. Once they allowed themselves to feel the full range of emotion, they became stronger leaders and better communicators. When you stop running from feelings, you stop shrinking from growth. Principle number 4, certainty creates momentum. So overthinking is the enemy of confidence. We really need to start deciding faster and refining later. When you make decisions from clarity, your momentum follows. A client recently told me that she spent weeks trying to perfect a launch plan, but when she finally acted, she realized that 80% of her success came from movement, not planning. I just want you to remember that perfection delays progress, and confidence comes from choosing and then course correcting along the way. Principle number 5, you set the tone. What I've learned over all these years is that people mirror your energy. The way you speak about yourself sets the standard for how others treat you. If you walk into a room with calm authority, people feel safe around you. If you walk in uncertain, they hesitate. So confidence isn't a demand for attention. It's really just an invitation to trust. So I want you to speak about yourself and your work with the same respect that you give others. That's how leaders lead energy first. Principle number 6, capacity equals confidence. So the more emotion, complexity, and challenge that you can hold without breaking, the more confident you become. Because really, life does not get easier. You just get stronger. When I look at the leaders who inspire me the most, they don't have fewer problems, but they have more perspective. They don't crumble when things go wrong. They ground themselves and then they respond. That's what creates sustainable confidence, that emotional capacity. I'd love for you to pick one of these 6 principles to focus on this week. You can write it on a sticky note or set it as an alarm in your phone, somewhere where you'll see it daily. Each morning, ask yourself, how can I embody this today? Because confidence isn't built by the outcome, it's built by the decision to move. And certainty, that calm inner knowing, is really what creates momentum. Okay, let's keep going, because once you understand the connection between confidence, money, and abundance, everything will start to shift for you. Confidence and money, they're always connected, because money follows belief, not effort. You can work hard, build systems, and perfect a strategy, but if you don't believe you're worthy of abundance, it will never feel safe to hold on to or to expand. Money doesn't respond to need, it responds to certainty. Early in my career, other agents around me, they were constantly discounting their commissions just to win business. And I decided that that wasn't going to be me. I wasn't going to be a discount broker. I knew that the level of service, strategy, and the results that I got my clients, and I refused to negotiate with my own value. And, it wasn't easy. There were moments when I questioned whether standing firm would cost me opportunities, but they rarely did. In fact, the opposite mostly happened. Clients trusted me more because I trusted myself. They could feel the certainty behind my words and the pride in my work. That single decision to hold my standards instead of lowering them, it really built more credibility, referrals, and long-term relationships than any script or sales tactic ever could. One of my clients recently had the same realization. She wasn't underpricing, but she was over-explaining. She thought that clients needed convincing when what they actually needed was her calm conviction. So once she started leading conversations with belief instead of justification, she really began to attract aligned, decisive clients who respected her expertise. People don't buy your price, they buy your presence, and they buy your belief in the value that you bring. Another one of my clients, a high-level entrepreneur, was undercharging despite her incredible results. So we restructured her pricing, clarified her value, and I coached her to speak about her offer with conviction. Within one launch, she doubled her revenue. So she didn't become better overnight. She just became bolder. People pay for leadership energy. They pay for clarity, confidence, and calm direction. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you underpricing, over-explaining, or over-delivering because you don't fully believe in your value? And once you determine that, make one adjustment this week. You can raise a boundary. That single act of belief really starts the energetic shift. Okay, let's talk about holding confidence, because earning money is one level, but holding it is another. The moment you earn money, the test begins. Will you lead it, or will you let fear lead you? Abundance can't stay where fear leads. My mentor, Brendon Burchard, teaches that high performers aren't confident because they always succeed. They're confident because they trust themselves to handle whatever happens. Most people can build momentum, but few can hold it. And the difference is confidence. Confidence is what keeps you steady when the numbers grow, when the visibility increases, and when your expectations rise. It's what allows you to stand in your success without waiting for the next shoe to drop. When I walked away from my brokerage after 26 years, I didn't have a safety net, but I had self-trust. And that trust became the foundation for everything that came next. That's the kind of confidence that holds the energy of success. It's not emotional. It's not fragile. It's built on conviction, and it allows you to expand without anxiety. A client of mine hit her highest income year, and she immediately started worrying that it was a fluke. Have you ever felt this way? I know I have. We worked on shifting some of her identity from someone who achieved it once to someone who always create results. That mindset change made her wealth sustainable. And another client also experienced this shift. She scaled fast. Her team was growing. She had record revenue, new visibility, but she was anxious every day. She said to me, "Everything looks successful on the outside, but inside I feel so unsettled, like I can't relax into it." We rebuilt her foundation around identity. We rebuilt who she was as a leader, not just what she did as a business owner. And the result was confidence replaced panic and also the need to control everything. You can't hold abundance with a scarcity identity or mindset, and you can't sustain what you're afraid to lose. When you believe that success is your new normal, you stop gripping and you start growing. Confidence really keeps wealth grounded. So I want you to ask yourself, do you believe that you can hold the level of success that you've built? And if not, what belief needs to shift so success feels safe to stay? Let's talk about expanding confidence. Confident leaders, they reinvest in themselves. They reinvest in their teams and their vision. They don't wait for proof that something will work. They create the proof by moving forward. Once you know how to earn it and hold it, the next level is learning how to expand it. The confident leaders, they move first, trust their preparation, and let conviction lead the way. Expansion doesn't start with action, it starts with identity. Who you believe you are determines how far you're willing to go. When you start seeing yourself as the kind of person who always figures things out, the fear of failing it loses its power. One of my clients said, "I realized I wasn't afraid to fail. I was afraid to outgrow the people around me." That awareness changed so much for her. She stopped apologizing for her ambition, and she started to surround herself with people who matched her pace. Every new level of abundance requires a new level of identity. When you believe that growth serves everyone that's connected to you, expansion becomes exciting instead of heavy. And that's what confidence does. It expands your capacity, not just for success, but for joy, freedom, and fulfillment. And it's also important, too, to mention that expansion requires faith. Faith that the skills, the vision, and the mindset that got you here will carry you forward, and that new levels will always bring new alignment. The most prosperous people that I know, they don't chase opportunity. They attract it by showing up as the next level version of themselves before the results appear. Confidence and abundance, they grow together. And the more you trust yourself, the more the world trusts you. And when you lead from that place, expansion becomes your natural state. I'd love for you to ask yourself, where are you still playing smaller than you know that you're capable of? And who would you become if you stopped waiting to feel ready and simply decided you already are? Let's talk about leading with certainty and conviction. Confidence isn't just how you feel, it's about how you lead. When you lead yourself with clarity and calm, others just naturally start to follow you. Leadership confidence isn't loud, it's steady, it's decisive, and it's deeply grounded. It's the energy that says, I've got this, even when the plan changes. That kind of energy builds trust, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. When I look back at my career, so many of the defining moments come down to how I led myself through uncertainty. During the 2008 market shift, chaos was everywhere. Agents were panicking, deals were falling through, people were glued to the news waiting for someone to tell them what to do. I didn't have all the answers, but I knew one thing. I was not going to let fear lead my business. So I decided to focus on what I could control. That was my service, my communication, and my consistency. So every morning I called my clients before they could call me. I would send updates even when there wasn't any new information to share. And I made sure that every person in my world knew that I was steady. That year ended as one of my best in real estate, not because the market was easy, but because clients could feel my certainty. They trusted my composure more than any marketing plan or pitch. That's what leadership confidence does. It stabilizes people in uncertain times. It calms the chaos. And that doesn't just apply to markets or money. It applies to teams, relationships, and even your home life. Leadership is an energy transfer. Your calm becomes everyone else's confidence. One of my private clients, a CEO leading a fast-growing company, told me that she felt like she was losing control of her culture. People were so stressed. She was constantly putting out fires. So we decided to work on one thing. We worked on her presence, not policies, not new hires, not having longer meetings, just how she entered a room. We worked on her tone, her breathing, her ability to pause before reacting. Within weeks, her team's energy changed. Meetings became shorter and more productive. The turnover dropped, all because she started leading from conviction instead of chaos. And that's the power of composure. People don't need for you to be perfect. They need for you to be present. I often say that structure creates freedom, and freedom fuels confidence. When your systems support your priorities, you stop reacting and you start leading. It's clarity, commitment, and conviction all in motion. So confidence is not just about results. It's about how you make people feel. And that includes yourself. You move differently. You speak with authority. You make decisions faster because you've learned to trust yourself. And that kind of confidence doesn't just grow your business. It elevates every part of your life. So ask yourself, where are you reacting instead of leading? And what structure or boundary would help you lead with calm certainty this week? Inside the Redefining Success Collective this month, we're really diving deep into confidence and courage. We're helping leaders strengthen their mindset, their presence, and their influence so they can lead powerfully in every area of life. So if this episode resonated with you, share it with another leader who's ready to build calm, unshakable confidence and lead from conviction instead of pressure. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Before you go, I want to give you something simple that you can start today. It's a quick 3-day reset that I use with my private clients to rebuild self-trust and create momentum fast. Because you don't build confidence by thinking about it, you build it by actually living it. So this will help you reconnect with the clarity, calm, and conviction that we talked about today. Day 1, make one decision that you've been avoiding. This might be a conversation that you've been putting off, a boundary that you really need to reinforce, or something that you know is no longer aligned with where you're going. Confidence grows every time you choose movement over hesitation. So I want you to decide, follow through, and remind yourself what it feels like to trust your instincts. Day 2, keep one promise to yourself. Confidence is built through consistency. So each time that you honor your word, you strengthen your foundation of self-trust. So I want you to choose one thing that you'll do today. Something small, meaningful. It could be getting your workout in, choosing not to eat dessert, or something that you think about often and catch yourself slipping on. I want you to decide what that is and follow through no matter what. When you do this, you're showing your brain that you're dependable, capable, and in control. Day 3, celebrate one win that you've been downplaying. Most high achievers are quick to move on to the next goal, and we're really slow to celebrate the progress that we've already made. So I want you to pause and recognize your growth. You've probably accomplished a ton already this year. Say it out loud, write it down, and really let yourself feel proud of how far you've come. Confidence expands when gratitude meets self-awareness. When you repeat these 3 steps every week, you'll see your energy, focus, and momentum shift. Confidence isn't about something you wait to feel. It's about something that you choose to practice. And every time that you act from that place, you're redefining success with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Thank you for listening to the Redefining Success podcast. If today's episode inspired you, I would love for you to take a moment and rate and review the show. It helps more high achievers like you find this message and start building success on their own terms. You can also find more resources, programs, and upcoming events at lauraflood.com. Or come join us inside the Redefining Success Collective, where we take this work deeper every month.